Hey, I'm Dean, and this is How to Manage Tech. Welcome. In this video, what I want to do is take you through an overview of about a dozen major best practice IT standards and frameworks that you need to be aware of if you're going to become a good technology manager. These frameworks are not something that I've invented, but they're published, they've been around for quite a few years, and your challenge will be how to get just the basics and then integrate them into your organization. I want to give you that overview first, and then take you through a series of lessons and videos that I've created, each about 10 minutes long, to help you better understand how these come together and how they can guide you and structure the work that you do. Just a little bit of quick background on me. My name is Dean, and I've been teaching and coaching in these frameworks and using them and helping people implement them for about the last 20 plus years. In the last few years, what I've been doing is creating lessons and collateral that I was going to put behind a paywall and charge people 10 grand in order for me to coach them online. But instead, what I've decided to do is open source it all on YouTube, because I want to spread the love. I want to see if I can help a lot more people get much better results out of their technology, have a better working experience, and make their workplaces better and just generally a more frictionless experience in life. I hope you'll come on the journey with me. Let's get stuck in. Now, to start with, what I want to do is I want to take you through 4 areas, right? Let's start with the project management space. And what I want to do here is I want to talk to you about Project Management Book of Knowledge from the US, PMBOK as it's known, and Prince2 from the UK. So let's start with the project management space. And I mentioned before the business analysis space, IT service management, which is sort of the run and operations. A bit more to it than that, but that'll give you the gist of it. And of course, architecture. These are all the elements that you need to build yourself a solution and run it. Now let's have a chat about Prince2 and Pmbok for a start. These are traditional project management frameworks popular in the US and the UK respectively, and I want to add them into my drawing now. Prince2 stands for Projects in a Controlled Environment. The first one was IT method, and Pmbok, Project Management Book of Knowledge from the US. And I'm going to add here my personal favorite, Agile Project Management, also from the UK, from a mob called DSDM. There's agile flavors of Prince2 and Pmbok as well, but they're kind of bolt-ons. And I want to talk to you about Agile PM a little bit later, because it's also got a sister framework in the business analysis space, and it's my go-to framework there. Not trying to push anything particularly down your throat, but Agile PM framework was born agile, and you can add lots of elements to it from Prince2 and Pmbok if you need to, right? Let's go and have a look at the Itil space now. To service management space, we have the framework known as Itil, which I'm heavily qualified and spend a lot of time learning and using as a team leader, along with ISO 20000. This is the International Standards Organization based in Switzerland, and their contribution to the world are to create these checklists, if you like, certification checklists or standards, which you can be audited against and certified against. So they're a quality measure, if you like. So 20,000 is quality service management, and it's not just IT, it's any service at all. I also want to add in a framework called COBIT, Control Objectives for IT. This is a very popular US framework for auditors. There's a lot to it, but not too many people have come across it. And I'm going to add it down here as part of the service management space. I'm going to move that a little bit later, but that'll do for now. It's where I use it, and its value is giving you a 1 to 5 rating, like the CMMI scale as it's known, which is like a maturity rating. And so you can use it to guide progress when you're implementing Itil and you're trying to understand where you're at in your journey. They don't have a built-in rules at Itil, so this is really a handy thing to have. In the business analysis space, we have from the British Computer Society their version of business analysis, along with a thing called the Business Analysis Book of Knowledge. That's BABOK there, and that'll be like the US Pmbok, Project Management Book of Knowledge, and as a sister framework known as Agile BA, one that I also teach and use quite a lot. That's our project management, our IT service management, and our business analysis space mapped out. In the architecture space, I'm going to go for TOGAF as my architecture of choice there, the Open Group Architecture Forum. And the reason I'm using that one is because it's very popular at American Defense, TOGAF it's called, Department of Defense Architecture Framework, and in my home country of Australia, ARGA, Australian Government Architecture, based on TOGAF as well. So it's a very well respected framework. Now, what I probably hear you saying is, well, what about things like Scrum and DevOps, which are very popular frameworks at the moment? Let me show you where I want to add those in, and I'm going to position them between project management, traditional ways of building solutions, and service management, traditional ways of running. Indeed, DevOps is based on development ideas married to intensely capable Itil or IT service management practices and processes. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show Scrum sitting in the middle as a lightweight team method. I actually call that a type of change model. Might be a little bit contentious, but I think that's fair enough. Application change model. And I'm going to put DevOps there as well, positioned between those project management and service management spaces. I think that's fair. What I'm now going to do is add DSDM, Dynamic System Development Method, which started in the UK in the mid-90s, still kicking around. And they are where Agile Project Management comes from, as well as the Agile BA. And they offer a program management suite on that. And they also talk about how to Agile up your portfolio management as well. So I'm going to add those on top, just up here. Continuing with this idea of frameworks that sit in the middle, I'm going to talk to you about business relationship management. Now, there's a Business Relationship Management Institute. They offer a business relationship management professional certification. And what they do is they blend business analysis together, so modeling techniques, with architecture techniques, how to understand almost enterprise architecture, business architecture skills to be able to slice and dice a business. And so I'm going to add those into my in-between space here, between architecture and business analysis, and that's my business relationship management professional. And lastly, what I'm going to do is there's a new framework come out called IT for IT, and it is essentially an ITSM based framework pitched as an architecture for IT people to build their support and their solutions around it. So I'm going to position that in between my ITSM and my architecture space. And that's known as IT for IT. Now, I also want to talk to you about very important matters such as security and continuity or disaster recovery. And the way I'm going to show you here is that these act as like a protective layer or a boundary around the outside. So I'm going to create this big sort of fence all the way around like so. And I'm going to label that my information security layer. ISO 27000, going to use a little K shorthand, as well as SOC 2, popular international framework, bit of a subset, if you like, of 27K that you can use. And I'm going to complement that with business continuity. This is where we protect the operations of our business, especially where it has those IT dependencies. The good news here is that we have an ISO standard for that one. Now, the reason this is important is that for a long time, this space was dominated by the Disaster Recovery Institute in America and the Business Continuity Institute in the UK. A lot of discussions around whether it was an incident or a disaster. So ISO 22300 comes along and provides an international agreed standard. So that really makes our job a lot easier. Now, both information security and continuity management form part of broader governance, risk, and compliance, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add in another layer around the outside, and I'm going to suggest then that we adopt enterprise risk management as part of our IT governance. And for that, I'm going to add in the framework known as ISO 38500. This is not a compliance framework, so in other words, you can't be certified against it. It's more just a thought piece, as well as on the enterprise risk space. And you would try and manage risk in an integrated fashion all the way down from your governance layer down to your operations. And so ISO 31000 is the enterprise risk, and there's a framework called management risk that I've used in the past, and it also gives you that top to bottom view of risk: project risk, strategic risk, operational. There's one final thing that I want to do, and I mentioned it before with COBIT. COBIT is a pretty underrated framework, and they did a really good job overhauling that in 2012, updating it in 2019. What they're doing is they're trying to position themselves as a one-stop shop, not unlike Itil, and I think they've done a pretty good job. So what I'm going to do with COBIT is I'm going to move that into the middle to show you its ability to act as binding framework that sits here in the middle and sort of talks about most of these others and certainly is aware of them. All right, so there's our finished picture. What do you think of that? Do you think that looks pretty good? So I hope that's been useful for you. And that's the landscape, as I say, of management frameworks that you're going to find both as qualification, as books, as exams, but also as skill sets in your organization that you're going to be juggling and trying to blend together and integrate together. And I want to offer you that integration pathway in my upcoming lesson series. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. If you like this video, then hit the like button and subscribe. Remember to hit the bell notification so you'll be updated when I release a new lesson. And feel free to share this lesson with anyone you think who might get value out of it. I've added some cards to the next lessons you might want to watch after this one. Feel free to ask me any questions or leave a comment below, along with any ideas you have for future videos. Thanks very much for watching. I look forward to chatting to you more soon.